He knows what the public polls are saying. He knows what the grassroots movements are saying. He knows what young people care about. And guess what they care about? Justice for Palestinians. So Dr. Jim Zogby made, which I think is a critical point. Bernie Sanders is a smart politician. Bernie was like, I ain't going to AIPAC. I got a scheduling conflict. Sisters and brothers. Right? Come on. You could go there for an hour if you wanted to. Like, let's be serious here, right? Then Bernie Sanders chose at the New York debate to engage in that type of conversation because he knew who he was talking to. He knows that the people who are not going to support him are the very people who are on the other side of the platform. And I said this yesterday for people that were in the room when we did this event yesterday on Islamophobia, is that, and maybe you need to correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be also having some dementia. Can somebody remind me of a staunch pro-Israel organization that has come out in support or stood up against the killing of unarmed black people by law enforcement in this country? If you know one, I want to know who they are, because I don't see that happening, right? So what I want you to understand is what I said yesterday, is that the same people who justify the massacres of Palestinian children and innocent civilians in Palestine and call it collateral damage are the same people that will find excuses to justify murders of unarmed people in this country by law enforcement. Don't sleep on the connections and why intersectionality, and why when I am doing this work, as people say, Linda, you're Palestinian. You got a platform. Why are you not using your platform? And I get this from my own people, by the way. Palestinian Americans say this to me. I want to keep it real here. People say to me, Linda, you're a Palestinian, you got this profile. Why are you not 100%? Like, why isn't your whole life living and breathing justice for Palestinians? You know what I tell those people? Because justice for Palestinians is not going to come at the hands of the Palestinian people in the United States of America. It's going to come at the hands of us being part of other social justice movements and standing up for our people. Black people haven't been liberated fully in the United States of America for 450 years. You better believe we ain't getting liberation in Palestine until black people are free in this country. That's my personal view. So, I'm with the folks in this room with this idea that what we built, and what, by the way, like I said, this wasn't just, I don't want to give all the credit to Bernie Sanders and the Bernie Sanders campaign. It's because people like you, we were able to do that in the Bernie Sanders campaign. The question is, what are we willing to do after this? And I think the time is now for us to really ramp this up in a way that we haven't done before. And I'm just going to answer some of my own questions that I think, I just want to put out there. I get like, yeah, just give me a second. What I want people to understand about the Palestinian rights cause is, let's put Palestinians to the side for a second, right? Let's put that to the side. That's the moral thing to do. Palestinians are human beings. They deserve dignity and respect and human rights, right? We're all on the same page on that. So let's put that to the side for a second. What I want the American public to understand, even those that are not really like part of rooms like this, is that we're in a fight for the Constitution in this country, right? Because we have like former Congressman Joe Walsh is threatening the President of the United States of America, right? We got presidential candidates that are vying to be holding the highest office, talking about pigs, bullets soaked in pigs' blood and inciting violence across the country, right? And then we stand and say, Linda, that's freedom of speech. That's why we live in the United States of America. But then we got the same people who are passing legislation across the country, anti-BDS legislation, suppressing the freedom of constitutionally protected activity, right? No one's calling that freedom. So what I want people to understand, that this is not just about Palestinian human rights. This is the suppression of free speech in this country for our right to organize non-violently for the issues that we care about. So this is a multi-pronged movement that is really, for me, the soul of what it means to have a U.S. Constitution, and what it means to be an American in this country, and also what it means to be a patriot in this country. Sisters and brothers, we are not outnumbered in this country. But guess what? We are out-organized. Yeah. That's what it is. So I ask you today to continue this, and I will say this about the DNC. I'm a delegate to the DNC. Yeah. progressive movement, and it's called PEP.
Called what?
PEP. Progressive except for Palestine. And I just want to give everyone a definition that you can share outside this room. If you are not progressive on the issue of Palestine, then you are no damn progressive.
Yeah.
If you are ever in a room with people calling themselves progressive, but do not stand for justice and freedom for Palestinian people, I want you to challenge them in this room. Because if we continue to allow them to hold this title of progressive, then I'm not a progressive. So the question is, who's defining who's liberal and progressive? You can't be liberal if you're not for the justice and freedom of Palestinian people. That's just my personal view about that. So that's where we're at.